Wow. Gotta check this. I want to do the SpongeBob. It's like the narrator from SpongeBob, like, Alright, anyways, enough of me messing around. Hello! Hello everyone, my name's Caden, and welcome back to more 8th Stream Chronicles. Last time, yeah, sorry for the shorter stream yesterday. I guess it kind of works out because I guess Sundays I can either do no stream or shorter streams, but main reason it was against because my stomach hurt. I'm better now. It's just I had to get some medicine, and it seems to be working at least. So I'm fine now. I'm all good. But yeah, we're halfway through. I think maybe halfway, maybe a quarter way through the second case, and we're of course we are of course the accused right now again. Simply because they think we're the only one who could have done it, even though we were locked inside a closet. But, well... And last time we also learned about the identity of the bearded man, or rather, the identity of the fact that he's not a bearded man and instead a girl. Just a little girl who's ran away from Russia. Or, was it Russia? I know she's Russian, but did she run away from Russia? I assume she did. Does it say? Disappears from Shanghai. I don't know geography or areas, so yeah. Anyways, we just discovered that after working with Sholmes and fixing his deduction stuff. So now we gotta figure out more about how we were not the killer. Everything's... Let me see.
Don't touch.
Huh?
I would tell you what I know about last night, but please, you must not touch my things. How you say, forbid it.
Oh, sorry.
As well you should be, young man. What vulgar manners you have. Poking round in a young lady's private belongings. Not shall I allow it.
Hypocrite! Well, I guess that's a bust. Very well then, let's talk. What happened last night? Did you know someone that was killed in the... Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I had to pull something up. Did you... Hey. Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night?
One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast.
The man who died. He was a friend of mine.
Oh.
That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night?
Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example? Perhaps people talking. Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded.
I hope that didn't happen, or else we'd all be dead. Or we'd just be swimming. Point is, why is that the thought I had? Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened.
Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done, whether they could find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me.
Oh, I see. Alright, what about running away? You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet?
Yes. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life.
You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder.
But tiara's mine. I need to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world.
I see. So it's kind of like you just wanted to break free and actually have a proper way of living, basically. How do they expect you to dance when and you're not even given proper sustenance? Like, But anyways, she could sell that crown and it'd be a lot of money. That being said, she'd also have to find a buyer, which... well, that's a story for a different day.
If I had run away, I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes. And the crew of this ship, they have all been so kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo?
Me? Oh, well, yeah. Of course. Indeed. For sure. Ergo. Whatever Edward said in the first game when he... I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation.
To what conundrum? I'm not sure, but...
what about friend first? So, the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right?
I don't think animals are allowed on board, but according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious...
Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison and throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes.
But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it?
That's kind of torturous if that's the case. Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Nope.
Huh. You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you?
Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then?
You may well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken!
May I hear the explanation?
Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call. Daily fresh eggs. And when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance.
You'd torture the chicken. So you'd eat your friends. I don't remember that. Put that in the court record. Mr. Sholmes would eat his friends. Alright. Thank you, Sholmes. Nope. Of course not.
Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed.
She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it.
Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle.
Okay.
According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel.
Yes.
However, the SS Burya stopped by no port last night.
Huh. Interesting. That's it. Of course.
So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard?
Yeah. Why's the times not match up?
Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when you mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard.
That is not your business.
Yeah, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something.
An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage.
Sorry? What was that?
It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances.
An angel?
And that is how I came here too. I ascended from the heavens because I am an angel.
That sounds painful. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid.
Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist a touch of the dramatic. Seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, in fact.
Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell me tell us what really happened. Well, it said I have to present some to her. Do you know anything about this? Miss Pavlova? Nope. Oh yeah, do you know anything about Speckled Band? This is the diary of my friend who passed away.
His diary.
Yeah, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? I don't understand.
It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins this cabin, you see. It's up there in the wall.
In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together.
Yeah. So why was there a speckled band coming from your room?
Oh. Mrs. Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know of anything.
Oh. Alright. Well, doesn't seem like there's anything here. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble, aren't I?
Excuse me, Mr. Rowland.
Yes, what is it?
Wow, she's fast.
Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once. Please.
Alright, I will come now.
What?
You must leave. Now.
Oh, no, it's fine. Don't mind us.
Yes, please don't worry about yourself, Mr. Roylett. Get out!
The passenger said out, or you want me to throw you out.
Looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later.
What a pity.
The whole room was a mess just like our room. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. I can speak. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. My head. Wow, really? I ended that close last time to this? Whatever.
Let's continue.
Because I'm not doing a 13-minute stream, no. That's not happening, and that will never happen.
I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that.
I wish we'd managed to find some clue as to what the speckled band might be.
We didn't manage to investigate at all. Can I imagine?
Yeah, you ain't gonna allow that.
And we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor garden door.
He's clearly glaring at us as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute.
What is it?
Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Yeah, where did Sholmes go?
Oh yes, he's completely disappeared.
When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. To be fair, if this guy saw that the handcuffs were off, then he probably would have done something way worse than just put them back on, so,
maybe it's for the best.
Anything new? First class cabin number 1. Yeah, that's our cabin.
No, not our cabin. It's Cosmo-sama's.
Sorry?
Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin.
You know how to make a stowaway feel small as... Anyway, wonder if Inspector Hosonaga has managed to uncover any new clues. Oh, maybe we should go back and check then.
We should probably find him and ask.
Hello. I really wish we'd had a chance to look around Miss Pavlova's cabin. Hey.
What? Why you look like that? You want something? Maybe you want me to throw you out again, hmm?
Oh, no, definitely not that.
Next time I have to throw you out, I show you where lobsters spend winter. Understand?
Understand.
Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I don't think you'll ever forget your face, Naruhodo-san.
Give it time.
That door leads to the second class area.
It's locked. You can't open it.
No, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murder escape.
Gosh, she gave me a very stern look when she said that. I'm not a killer. Do you really think the person who just got an acquittal would immediately try and kill again? Like, almost like 2 weeks after. If it was an actual villain, then I don't even think an actual villain would kill that fast. Wouldn't it still just be ultra suspicious? I don't know. Maybe I'm not evil enough to understand. Oh, hey, you moved. It looks like they're still investigating here.
Yeah, on that subject, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed.
What do you mean, unscathed?
Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he laid his life on the line for you.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria.
Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
So by bringing her pet on board, Miss Pavlova has broken the rules.
She called it her friend, didn't she?
Yeah, although we don't know what form this friend takes as yet.
I'm almost certain that whatever it is, it's inside the traveling case in her cabin.
A friend? There's more of this than it seems, I think. It's just a matter of finding out who this friend is. Hi there, sir.
You, where'd you go?
Oh, sorry. I just went to...
Why? Who gave you permission for this?
Well, I mean Seaman Hosonaga did.
That new Japanese, was it? Later, I will roll him in the wall and throw him in cold room.
Okay. Yeah, he's gone back to guard the door.
I hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account.
He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at Le Carnival.
That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san.
It's still something to consider. It's called being nice. So it's clear that these letters were written with the ink that was somehow spilt on the floor. And then they spelled the Russian word for wardrobe.
It doesn't seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there.
But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelt out my name, don't you think?
Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Cosmo-sama would have written his last words or word in Russian.
Yeah. So it must be the killer tried to instead pin it. You know, what it could be is it could be one of the crewmen, because maybe they don't know English that well enough, so maybe they were just trying to, maybe they somehow knew that I existed in the closet, and they wanted to say wardrobe, but didn't know how to say it in like English or Japanese. So instead he just, or they, or whoever, just wrote it in Russian because that's the only language they knew. Point is, I think this points to it being one of the crewmates, or the girl, though I don't know. Well, it could have been the girl, though I don't know why. Point is, it's probably someone who's only good at, whose main language is Russian and is not too terribly well versed, in English or Japanese. I could have worded that so much better, but whatever, we're going with it. Which begs the question of who did write it. Strange, strange, and stranger still. This is where Cosmo spends final moments, writing a diary.
1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from a ventilator grill.
Looking at his writing here on this page, it's almost impossible to believe that he's gone.
Cosmo-sama left us a valuable clue in these words, I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruto-san.
We will. The main mystery is, what is the speckled band? Hey, are you okay? Oh dear. You're back. Inspector.
What happened to you? Your face is...
Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe. When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fist and then toss me overboard.
What?
But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So, it was nothing really. It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to.
Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little bit about the neighboring cabin.
Yes, so I understand.
Oh,
I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. Oh, Sholmes. I think his name was like Hairlock Sholmes. I don't think he was German though. Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes then? We can tell you about what we found out. Yes, let's do it. Cabin next door. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door? Oh, do you know what she is? Please, a self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel. Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to this case at least. Oh? How? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Oops, now it just definitely upset him. Well, unfortunately that can't be the case. I mean, if we can find out what the animal is, then maybe we can the thing is, it actually, I didn't even think about it. It has to be her, doesn't it? Because look at the bell. That's with how small it is, maybe it's like a bell on an animal? Now why would it be in here though? What kind of animal is it? If it's a snake, which I assume is what it's going to be, because speckled band, like a snake's long. I mean, they said it. First of all, they said it in the intro cutscene, like a speckled band, and they showed a picture of a snake. And then, of course, you can just infer like band. You can long string, like thing, speckled, and then of course snakes can have spots. I don't know snake. I don't know snakes. But I assume they have those kind of patterns, or can. Anyways, the point is, if it's a snake, I don't think it would have a bell. But why would it? But if it is, I don't know. The bell's confusing me. Why is it there?
Inspector, has your investigation here proved fruitful?
If I'm honest, there's really very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed. Ray, head over to Hong Kong. Hong Kong, please. So, I'm just keeping watch here. Try not to take my eyes off the job.
Oh, I see.
There is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh, what?
Yes, do tell us, Inspector. Please.
About the great detective first.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, was he?
Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now that you mention it, yeah. Just one thing, but he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish, was all he said. Oh. That's what this is. I think I made a guess like that at first. Yeah, it's shoe polish. So he tripped? Cosmo tripped? That's the guess. Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant.
Yes, when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass. Do you see?
Perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think?
Yes! That must be it.
So it's shoe polish. But how can Mr. Shums know that's shoe polish?
That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea.
What is this, Susasa-san?
Well, Cosmo-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan heel.
Ah. I wonder if you looked at his shoes, would there be like a scuff mark on it? Like he dragged it? Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red then.
Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him.
Oh! Does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Cosmo's shoes as they were scuffed on the floor? Yeah. Piece of a small glass object and what looks like a scuff mark made by the Cosmo's shoes were found by the victim's body. What's your new info? What is this new information you have, Inspector?
It's this. The Boreas medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report.
Oh. Cosmo's post-mortem report.
Cosmo-sama.
So, what was the cause of death?
Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report.
Damage to the cervical vertebrae? So like a head wound?
His neck was broke?
Oh. Ugh.
Yes, it would seem so.
I wonder, was his death maybe an accident? The room's a mess, but also was the outer passenger's room. I need to figure out what's causing the mess, but look at the way that it's also moving. The scuff mark. It looks like, yeah. Maybe he could have banged his head and like maybe just, that'd be sad. But, I don't know.
There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first, I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all.
Well, what weapon was used then?
Nothing has been found as of yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark.
Oh, I see.
All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wounds would be left.
Poor Kazuma.
I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it.
Really? Are you sure?
Yes, it's fine. I trust you.
Thanks.
After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I?
Thank you. A report from the SS Buria's medical officer, given the cause of death as a cervical spine injury. There are no trace of external injury or poison. Do they even have the equipment to check that right now? I don't know exactly what all you would need, especially in the time of the past, but I'd assume it'd be a lot more than we currently need to determine that kind of thing. Anyways, can I take a closer look at this? Victim, male, Far Eastern. Time of death, sometime between 1 a.m. and a little past 2 a.m. So it was like in the middle of the night. Weird. Cause of death, damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Oh! Instant death. Ah, there's a clue already. He would never have been able to write that message. The victim's neck was almost certainly broken as a result of a strong blow to the area. No obvious external injuries or traces of poison. Already, that's weird. He couldn't have written a message if it was instant death.
That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewman's eyes are boring into the back of my head.
Yeah, that might be for the best. Thank you.
Poor Inspector. You look exhausted.
Oh, no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. It was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You as friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke up this morning.
A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing, too. Let me see this.
It really is such a beautiful color, this glass.
It looks like whatever it was has broken clean in two. But the other half is nowhere to be seen.
And there's this brick-colored mark.
Which is shoe polish, according to that great detective you seem to know all about.
I suppose it must be from Kazuma-sama's shoes.
Maybe. But what I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure that's shoe polish and not something else?
Because he's a great detective, of course.
That's hardly reason, is it? All the books provided for passengers occupying this cabin, neatly arranged on the shelf.
They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember.
Oh yeah, and you tied them up, didn't you?
You have to look after the ship's property. Unruly behavior in the cabins leads to damage.
But it really wasn't me who knocked them over.
Well, anyway, I feel much better now that they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy.
So this ventilator joins Miss Pavlova's cabin.
Yes, that's right.
And just a few minutes before it died, Cosmos saw something emerging from it. The speckled band, as he described it.
If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it. But she seemed as baffled as we were.
Yeah. I wonder if she's telling us everything, though.
I'm not sure.
I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Curiouser and curiouser. Well, there's not really much else I can do here. Can I go back? Hey!
Ah! Look, Naruto-san! Seaman Stroganoff is gone!
Strong enough?
The burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us.
Ugh, all these Russian names are impossible to remember. Beef Stroganov. Tra-la-la. Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing, I wonder. Tra-la-la. Tra-la-la-la-lee-ra-lee-ra-lee. I did the great detective way. Yep, it's him.
It's caroling. I know that lark-like voice.
Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us.
Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can investigate.
Definitely. Before that stringy knot crewman comes back.
It's Stroganoff, not Stringy Knot.
Whatever. I'm gonna get in trouble. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Sasan. Oh! Where's she go? Oh! I didn't even notice that at first. The case is open. What are you... Hey, what are you doing? Those are private things.
There's not a moment to waste, Naruto-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can.
I suppose you're right, for Cosmo's sake. You were reading.
Not just for Kazuma-sama.
What do you mean?
It can't be long now until we arrive at port, in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there.
Really?
We must solve this case, Naruto-san. By ourselves if we have to.
Yeah, we will. Alright. Let's start with this. Why is it's basically fallen over the exact same way. All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one.
Do you think that's the god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though.
This is exactly the same as the bookcase next door. In Cosmo's cabin.
Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase?
I don't think it would lay the exact same way, though. I don't know. Will she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? That too.
Alright then. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage.
How did I get in here now? Not everything bad that happens on the ship is because of me, you know. How am I over here now?
Well, anyway, I'll set them straight again in here, too. I don't like seeing things in disarray.
The rules? Ah, yes, they're displayed in this cabin too. Look, this is buried as the rules of passage. Hazardous not keep weapon, blah blah blah.
I suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Her special friend, I mean.
I wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. Yeah, it's probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine.
I just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard.
Oh, yeah, so do I.
Naruho-san, are you there?
Sorry? I'm right here, yes, why?
Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home.
Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know.
Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes.
I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. Hidden animal. So this is the ventilator. This ventilator connects to Cosmo's cabin next door.
Yes, although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator to another room.
Ah, maybe it's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm.
Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning.
Oh, that's a possibility.
Anyway,
last night Cosmo wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. So what could he have seen from this room? There's one of these next to the bed in Cosmo's cabin too.
Yes, it's a bell cord. I can't resist. Ring!
She's barely hesitated there, and she gave it a good tug too.
No, it didn't actually expect anyone to come.
We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. What about the door? It's locked. Or unlocked. Why did I say locked? This cabin door has the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. If the bolt's drawn across, there's no way anybody could enter the cabin from outside.
Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own cord, would it?
No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. So how'd it get locked?
And it seals up perfectly, too, to stop any seawater from coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through a crack in the closed door either.
I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Maybe I am the villain. It was me all along. There are just a few books on the desk. Nothing else by the looks of it.
Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied this cabin for any time at all.
That's true. I wonder what kind of books she likes to read.
Let me see. Yes, I see. It seemed that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian.
Thanks. I think I probably already knew that.
It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruho-san. Kindly remember that.
Well, the trash can.
I suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket.
Shall we have a little look and see what's been thrown away?
Naruho-san. It's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know.
Those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now.
However, these are special circumstances, I think.
Exactly. We have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all.
Oh, well, it's a little disappointing.
Oh.
But it seems this teapot is empty.
So the natural conclusion is that the Russians are very thirsty people.
Or because Miss Pavlova only came into this cabin last night, she hasn't had the chance to make any tea yet? I mean, it could be either.
It's definitely that they're excessively thirsty. I'd lay 1,000 to 1 on it.
You're rather obstinate, aren't you, Naruhodo-san?
Is that it? There's a plate on the floor here.
Wonder what this little saucer is doing on the floor.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately.
Ah, do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here?
What? A leak?
Is this ship quite safe?
I'm sure that even if there's a little leak on the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship's going to sink.
No, you're right. Of course you're right.
She's just really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? Alright, let's get that. Let's get this out.
Oh my, Miss Pavlova's case is open.
It's completely empty inside. But according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there.
Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret.
Because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Buria. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now? What else? Anything? It doesn't seem like there's anything. Can I go back? That didn't work. Thankfully, I'm allowed to just skip travel without having to go through every area again. Is there something I missed? Anything at all? What am I missing? That. Wrong button. Let's try... What else can I inspect? Wrong button. What else can I inspect? Not you, not you. Not you, not you, not you, not you, not you. Not you. Not you. Not you, not you, not you. Not you, not you. Alright. In that case, maybe... here? Miss Pavlova's cabin.
This could be our chance.
What?
The burly sailor doesn't appear to be around at the moment. We can investigate every last inch of that cabin.
I'm not sure if I could go that far, but we could certainly do with looking around more. I'm sure we could learn something. Anything on the other side? Alright, I don't think there's anything on the... Fine! What are you doing?
Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look.
Wow, you never know when he's going to turn up next, do you?
He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself.
Tra-la-lee-ra-lee-ra-lee, I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. You think he hasn't noticed us?
Or he's simply in extreme high spirits.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, its lucky hairlock was about. Excuse me. I solved it all and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes.
Ah! What is it? You want to fight? Why is he interrupting a fellow when he's singing and I was just about to reach the climatic finish?
Sorry. I thought you were never going to stop, so I figured now's a good time as any.
I nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks.
Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away?
Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you.
Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in study of the ship's log, as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here.
Oh yes, the ship's log.
And did you find anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there was nothing to report. I don't know what happened, so... You truly are a student from a land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Observe the other pages and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman off-sensed entry in this first-class passageway, and he has almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Interesting. So he hasn't been reporting. So he knows something. He's hiding something. But what? Is he the accomplice to the murder? Or is he the murderer? Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes?
Nothing to report?
Precisely. Put it simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there's just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report.
Do you mean...
Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night, which led to the seaman being absent from his post. Hold on. I gotta get comfy. Apologies. Alright. Back at it. Let's get to it.
What kind of circumstances? What happened?
That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribbling nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log into your mental file. Thank you. Ship's log, a record kept by the crew assigned to first-class cabin area. There were virtually no entries from 2 a.m. till early this morning. 2 a.m., you say? Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Nothing to report, nothing to report, nothing to report, nothing to report. Blank, 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 blah, blah, blah. Beef stroganoff. Strog. I'm gonna have a strog. Compies. Whoop. Sorry, I'm being weird. Anyways, 2 a.m. Interesting. The time of death was somewhere between 1 a.m. and 2 p.m. Or a.m. Why did I say p.m.? That'd be a very different trial, or case.
Ah, so you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Mr. Sholmes brilliant?
What is it? Are you hurt?
Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more.
Everyone has a headache.
Well, my friends, until our next encounter.
He's still singing to himself. I can hear as he wanders down the passageway. Is something wrong, Susa-san? You seem lost in thought.
It's just... well, I feel the same.
Sorry? Even you?
Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing.
Oh, you too. Why does everyone have a headache? Alright, is Pavlova's cabin where I need to go? What?
What's that?
Are we in trouble? Shut down the engines immediately. Pencils beside the corner by the floor. Full stop, hard to starboard, all hands brace for impact!
What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What?
Whoa!
I can't stand.
Susa-san, hold on to me.
Susa-san!
Susa-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all?
I think I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you, Naruto-san.
Jeez, oh Pete. Looks like we avoided collision. And now that... Interesting. The books are all messy again. The exact same things in the exact same, like, messy way they were in the other room. More importantly, though, there's a lock. The lock. It's locked up. I think we have the answer to our mysterious locked door.
I think...
Yeah, the ship has come to a stop.
Oh my goodness, what about you, Naruto-san? Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine. Hello, is anyone there? If you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga.
Is that you? You in there now, son? Unbolt the door, quickly!
What? The bolt?
Look at that. Look at that. The door's bolted.
Did you do that, Susa-san?
No, I didn't touch it.
Well, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again. Interesting.
Naruto-san, aren't you going to open the door and let Inspector in?
I'd better tie this place up first. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery, at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. Oh boy. Are we coming to the climax of this? Because that's what it's starting to sound like. We're coming to the climax of this. Somehow, the door of the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susa-san took a deep breath and gently slowed back the bolt. Oh dear.
You! What are you doing, Miss Pavlova's quarters?
Ah, you both look unhurt. Good.
Yeah, we're fine. Thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship.
Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though.
Oh, how'd that happen?
There's this dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop.
Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming, crew are running everywhere.
This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment.
Oh, I see.
Somehow triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside?
You wicked intruder. You dress all in black, you are the devil.
Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil's the first.
You opened my traveling case. How could you?
What? No, we didn't touch it.
That's right, Miss Avlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector,
Yes.
arrest this man. I know he did it. He's criminal. It is not that he killed men.
Ah, and he is stowaway as well. A victim promises not to steal chicken, do you believe?
Take him away. He's a trespasser as well as everything else.
Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are devil.
It doesn't look good, does it?
The cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police.
Wait, a cell?
Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do?
This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options.
This is terrible.
This is a real crisis. I've gotta find a solution. Immediately. Doubt anyone here is gonna help. What in the name are you doing? What are you doing up there?
Mr. Sholmes! Why are you wearing the tiara?
Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so fool and brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not.
You again. The great detective.
Ah, Inspector. I confess I have been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently.
Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time.
What is it to report? Speak.
An urgent report from Great Detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved. By me, naturally. What?
Really?
Yes. I've eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great deductor's greatly admired great deduction to the case.
Ha! You have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all know who is responsible for killing student boy this morning. We found criminal in wardrobe. It is a stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it.
No, I didn't do it!
The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin.
Yes, it's what called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Ah, locked room. That is point.
Their room was locked.
Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all.
What?
Seems you've also... Oh yes, there's another entrance.
An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door.
Another entrance? We never discovered one.
Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man.
The ventilator?
You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole.
That's because your arms aren't as thick as tree trunks. Your arms are as thick as tree trunks.
You're suggesting the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible.
Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim was even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Shams, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Cosmosama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madam.
But what does it mean? What is a speckled band?
The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Huh? Mr. Shums, what are you doing?
I'm fighting the air.
There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! What the? Why? Are you okay?
Allow me to introduce to you all to the band, the speckled band. A snake? Indubitably.
Everyone's in shock. Mr. Shums, just one thing.
Pray, what troubles you?
Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you? You will see and observe with distinction. However, do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap?
How exactly?
I think perhaps it's time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for a young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. His whole thing has nothing to do with me.
There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts.
Number one. Last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No. He turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Shums must be right. He hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Soki?
It looks like he can't speak with that snake coil around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman.
You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck.
So everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Let's do this. The game is afoot. The first topic, intruder's identity. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole situation has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Oh? Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. Oh! I saw that for a split second. She's got something on her hand.
It is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that hotness night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you board this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the 9 questions tell of a speckled ban, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. He's also trying to kill Stroganoff, so I'm going to turn away from it now. What explanation can we give there, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eye last night? What did you just put behind your back?
No, don't look at me. It has nothing to do with this.
Oh, but it does? You have the answer to this contrary, even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's lost skin. Evidently, even after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin, no?
I don't know what you are talking about.
Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side of the bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as the speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it's lost its skin. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Conclusion, a beloved speckled snake. But there's still topic 2. How Mr. Asogi died. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data with which I've been apprised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as a fact, we can reasonably imagine there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost but not quite imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense.
There is no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you have the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt.
You don't...
It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound when he heard minutes before his death. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you would use to train your serpent friend.
Train.
Indeed. You put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you would release the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training?
It's not true.
Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once.
and its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubts. My logic is infallible. Conclusion is death by a venomous snake's bite. Alright, Mr. Sholmes, I think it's time we fix your stuff. The speckled band. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you will observe a source of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Oh, milk. Is it a cat? Incredible. You solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great detection really lives up to its name. Now I see why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand.
Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes?
But of course. What's on your mind?
It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me.
I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly.
Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You are well informed, madam.
And reptiles, don't drink milk.
Ah.
It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears.
Ah.
Yes, I'm not so sure it'd really be possible to signal snake by whistling.
But, madam, what of the tales of Arabia? Have you not heard the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute?
I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears.
Those creatures are so inept they are practically useless.
Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes.
There's one other thing.
You have more.
Snakes use the scales in their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat belt cord like the ones in these cabins.
Then it should try harder. Just do it.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had part in this.
Although, I do think his train of thought might be close to correct.
I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no, you don't mean...
Yes, we need more to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest actions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I have a feeling that's coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, right. So, cast your eyes down onto your wrist again. What? How do you do that? You've done it again.
Your handcuffs are gone.
Where'd they go?
Fear not. I shall see them restored after our work is done. I really wish you would leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. The stage is set for Caden to lose internet connection. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Let's fix up the intruder's identity.
Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts.
She does have a pain expression on her face.
Yes, that's true. She looks as though Cosmosama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure Mr. Shum's quite read her correctly, right? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then?
Let's take a moment and really look closely at Miss Pavlova.
I think I already know what it is. I saw it just a split. Yep, there's a claw mark. Oh,
Oh, Naruho-san, look. That looks like a very painful wound.
it looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently, too.
Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here. Yes!
The claw scratch marks with pain. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, the claw scratch marks with pain.
Indeed.
And simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch?
Sometime last night. I think about the young man who died next door. I feel so sad. And when I'm sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was a friend with which you boarded the vessel, was it not? As I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. It seems like the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they?
No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow.
Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers?
Should we follow her gaze, Miss Naruho-san? That's where we'll find the answer.
Ah, hello there. Here's the bell. Ah, look at this photograph in this. Look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away.
She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
Yeah, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's got my eye. Maybe we better take a closer look at this. Look at that little cat Miss Pavlova's cuddling there.
Oh, what a cute little kitten. Could vibe with you, couldn't it, Naruho-san, for the black's outfit?
A black kitten. And from the look of this picture, at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it.
Yes!
The little kitten. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
Oh no.
The whereabouts of this black cat isn't clear, but what it is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you?
Darka's my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind.
Darka would appear to be a Russian blue.
And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim written an observation on the night in question tell of a speckled band,
whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give then, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
Don't look at me. It has nothing to do with me.
Oh, but it does. You have to answer this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's sloth.
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back.
If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known.
Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Sholm's specialty. He's ever so clever. Really forced her to reveal something.
I thought deduction was a specialty. Or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Oh. Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy, a long piece of cloth of some sort. It looks like a handle at one end.
I think it might be a cat's toy. This is sort of common in the West, apparently.
How is that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens particularly love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it.
This sounds positively adorable. Cat's toy. Alright, Sholmes, let's fix this. Cat's toy. Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band.
And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator.
You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Mrs. Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night portrayed the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. A truly troublesome feline young Darka has proven to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Darka. A photograph of Miss Pavlova and her friend, a kitten named Darka. The tiara she would wear on stage can also be seen. But we've still got one other mystery to solve here.
It was after I gave her our food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand, and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty.
The real conclusion, a beloved kitten. But we've still got to fix how Mr. Asogi died. Let's do it. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life? And why? According to the data of which I've been apprised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by its terrible venom.
What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Cosmo-sama's body.
That's right. But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Cosmo wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
So the post-mortem?
Yes!
Post-mortem report. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other.
His neck was...
Indeed. The breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal, only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganov isn't some immortal freak, you know. But the jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can all reasonably imagine that
remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death Cosmo died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably, Dark didn't silently creep up behind Cosmo and deal him the fatal blow. I suppose it's possible they had fallen hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yeah, that fall could explain it. It's very hard to believe of Cosmo-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix his deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Yeah, it'd be this.
Yes!
The mark on the floor. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is the deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed. Positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I now carry as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. And, by the dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. I don't know anything about this. Is that really the truth, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the fact is as clear as day to me. You did all what you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You had the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that... I don't believe it. Cosmo-sama nearly tripped over and now he's no more? Can't be true. I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But... And if this part of Mr. Shump's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answers must be somewhere. In the trash can? This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Bingo! Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. Wait. Am I... Wait.
Yes!
Waste paper basket. There you go. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it seems. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And, as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. No. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not?
I don't... I don't know, and that hush Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why?
I think I know the exact reason why. Let me guess, if I look at this, it's gonna tell me. Bingo!
Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah.
The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell.
That would be...
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka.
I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
Death by tripping over a cat. A terrible shame. Deduction complete. Elementary. So it was just a whole freak accident, basically. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night.
It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments.
She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it?
Yes. And I had read the rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me.
Yes, modern science suggests that animals carry infectious diseases.
It's a precaution, really.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping.
So at the time, you thought it was safe to try and lure the kitten back again. By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator into the adjoining cabin.
Darka always loves this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
So the faint whistling sound that Cosmo wrote about in this diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Squeak. Squeak goes my chair.
Yes, so there was nothing I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down.
But then...
I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out, then... Oh, such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Cosmo was...
From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping. Yes, this buoy has a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Sogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. what became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yet Darka's nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again.
Gracious, that cat is as insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least.
When I woke this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Too scared they would send me back.
Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake?
You're right. Where is it?
If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it, and where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship? Also, why are you petting it? Sir?
Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirozko.
What? That snake belongs to you.
He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here.
Yes, how'd that snake get into this cabin?
But animals are not paraded on board.
We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long with a close friend, without someone who understands?
Couldn't you find someone a little more human who could understand you better?
But, my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake, surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in.
No venom. Pirozko does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny.
It's venomless.
Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile.
And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose?
Like they said, milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stores. Pirozko eats mouses. Big, fat, round mouses.
And that's why you have the mousetrap outside. Ah. Oh, so is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for?
Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food?
Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. I've lost my eyes. Where did my eyes go? It literally looks like someone took my model and ripped the eyes off. What has happened to me? It refuses to drink milk, it can't hear a whistle, it can't climb up a bell cord, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something like that?
It's not my fault. I did not make up stories. My Pirozko had nothing to do with this incident.
So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. Well,
Miss Pavlova, I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you.
But what are you talking about, Miss Mikotova? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed to everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events, an accident.
I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
to be perfectly honest, yeah. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it.
I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter.
Oh,
I'm only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruto, are simply a distraction.
distraction.
I do hope you're not finding your shackles too uncomfortable.
Seriously? We literally just proved that I wasn't the murderer. Not again. When did he do that?
Especially as they're on your list as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I resolved matters before we made our next port call.
You were, Mr. Sholmes.
Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not?
Yes. Cosmo was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even.
In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah. Whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. And about how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I see what I can do.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. So then, shall we begin?
Yes.
What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in a cabin and that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That's what we must establish in the first instance.
But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten, had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but it's still an accident.
Hold it! Wait. Let's just take a step back.
It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it?
I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Cosmo's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident.
Really?
Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. I should say first, because I've dangerously not saved for a very long while now.
The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident.
Wouldn't it be this?
Yes!
This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor.
But that's the black glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over and the cat fell.
So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw.
What?
If that's really what happened, then how did one half the bell end up back here in this cabin?
Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass with bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova?
No.
That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, if what Miss Pavlova told us was true.
What? So Sasa knows too, then? Putting the piece of glass aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words, it has to be this.
Yes!
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor.
That script, it's Russian, isn't it?
Indeed it is. The words written mean wardrobe.
I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language, Japanese in the case.
But maybe you're studying Russian. It's a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
It doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not.
Sorry? What do you mean?
Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. Now, when Mr. Sogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up their own guilt. Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Sogi's...
You are wasting time.
Yep, knew it.
Someone else is there. Now, of course, we know this.
What are you talking about?
Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way or in or out.
Oh, yes.
And only other person in cabin when young Soon died was you.
It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened.
You were shot inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details.
But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message.
Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details.
Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. And then, the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Sogi really died.
But why wouldn't this person have taken up all the pieces of the glass of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions.
Yes, well,
It was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark.
they wouldn't have been able to see.
The single small lamp suspended in the ceiling was barely to cast any light onto the floor there. Little wonder, then, that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item. You all suspected me, don't you?
Seaman Stroganoff.
Nina is woman of sea. She's daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on the ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal.
Ah, so that's it.
You say that young soon died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth.
Well, this is all most interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure?
You're a great detective, you should know. Look truth in eyes. Cabin bolthead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Yeah, it's impossible.
He's right. But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread. You're using my logic now.
Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors.
Certainly not. These are the watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel, with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used. No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested earlier, so...
Why are you telling me? Why you shifted onto me like that?
So Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from outside.
Not necessarily.
What?
I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind have been used before.
I don't believe it.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from outside.
One way does spring to mind, yes.
Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen.
Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside.
It would be this.
Yes!
Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things on it have toppled over?
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Yes, that's right. It was a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes through the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over.
I believe. Yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia, acting on objects.
Is there nothing Susasan doesn't know? Or that is an inner book at least? Well, whatever it's called, it's the same force that pushed over those books as in the bookcase also made something else in the cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... Hello?
Is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance.
Oh, that sounds like...
Inspector Hosonaga. Oh yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door.
Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of a neptia, if you want to call it that.
Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Sogi was killed?
What? Bingo.
There's this bully made another emergency stop.
When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the other ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over.
Oh yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I?
Then, when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin.
Oh my.
Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova?
What do you guys have in your mind? You say Burger made emergency stop.
It does seem a little far-fetched. How could it have possibly happened? Unless you're saying the culprit is actually someone from the engine room.
Oh, it's simple enough.
Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm? Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, was there? Telling you to only press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights, when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Were you the reason it... Whatever.
Wait. It was you.
When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today.
I see we found the culprit of the earlier...
Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion.
He sounds almost proud of himself.
How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now.
Now, not now. I'm sure we can all wait till later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider... Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Sogi, did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiots. Muria's huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop even in the middle of the night, there would be chaos everywhere.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night?
It would be the ship's log, wouldn't it?
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff. It's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right?
Ah, that is correct. Why?
And the ship's log here. This would be where you record the details of your duties?
What are you doing with that? It is mine.
You rather carelessly left at the top of the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return to you later.
I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always.
The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write the phrase "nothing to report" every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until the first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all.
Nothing recorded in the log?
That is... because nothing happened.
But if nothing happened, you would normally write "nothing to report," wouldn't you?
Indeed so. Which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Burya. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact. Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish.
If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself.
Oh? Why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop had really happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night.
Oh, no, that's a good point.
What? Throbbing.
Sorry? What do you mean?
Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it.
Oh, yes. I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you?
Just as I suspected. He's right. My head's been throbbing today, too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe. And had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake it up
wake up at all when that was happening to me.
Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, well, yes, sorry.
The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on?
Oh, well, Cosmo looked after me. Oh, they mentioned that earlier. Cosmo doesn't eat chicken. Or, I think they said that. Point is, they said he didn't eat last night. He didn't eat the chicken or whatever. So he gave it to us. So, then the chicken had to be laced, right? He was always happy to share his meals. But why was the chicken laced?
So you have enjoyed some whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it?
Yes, in fact, I ate all of that. Cosmo wasn't fond of chicken.
Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all?
That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant?
My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I do.
No. Really? Is that really true?
The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with.
Tampered with by an addition of a soporific, designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it.
A sleeping drug. Do you mean
whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so that no one would notice the ship's emergency stop?
Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea.
Precisely. Lacing every passenger on board with a soporific drug would be certainly impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. Oh. The crewman said it himself. He, before Nicolina was, before being with, the ballet company or whatever, she was with the ship. All of the ship would conspire with her.
What? Mr. Sholmes?
Well, seaman? Chair!
What is that insufferable squeaking?
I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And, were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade.
Please, no more. I will tell everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help. Everyone together. She threw away everything. Her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel.
I don't believe it.
You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night.
Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point.
We don't make all drug. How do you say? Dissolve?
Talk about heavy seasoning.
At midnight, in what is near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with a small fishing boat.
While all the passengers of the SS Beria slept soundly.
Thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion, their evening meals have been contained.
So if that's what happened, the only person awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who dislike chicken and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlina. Miss Pavlova. Why did I say Pavlina? And that means it would have been impossible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Cosmo's door.
But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin would have ended up locked in that case. There would have been complete chaos.
Oh, I wouldn't say so.
What?
Yeah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins. After which, they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night.
Yes?
The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so, not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning.
You have talked long time and said many things. What is point?
The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But... I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl.
You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes.
A laudable trait.
What?
I'm quite the same of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yeah? Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind. What?
What's accusatory cry of guilt?
Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of the involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction.
What are you talking about?
I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. Alrighty. One more. So, Mr. Naruhodo, with your assistance, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow. Just like I said. Sorry, I had to sneeze. With observation, my dear fellow. Just as I said of these two prevaricators. Observation.
If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? Like tampering with the scene of Mr. Usogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened.
Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Cosmo died. In your neck. Above you. Wait. Aha! Oh, look at this. It's some kind of stain. An unusual place.
Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken.
Ink. And look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from. Here you go.
Ink stain.
Seaman Stroganoff, you seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there.
Eh? Ah, yes, I don't know where dirt come from.
So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain.
What are you trying to say?
It would appear that the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain.
It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform.
And I think what made it is clear. Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruto, present the evidence that proves it.
My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves what that stain on back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is. It would be this, right?
Yes!
Yeah. The crime scene photograph. Yes, it's this photograph, and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform.
Ink?
A rather unusual color of ink, purple. The penny drops at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink.
And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of the exact same color.
If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform that way. Which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilled.
Alright. Yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in Dead Student's cabin to make it look like Walter Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Burya do emergency stop and bolt the cabin door shut. I did everything so no one suspect our angel.
Please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty, patrolling passageway. And our angel came to me. She was white like sheep.
Bev, please. You must help me.
I went with her. The door to the cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw a student boy on floor. What happened here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one. My little furry friend.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you.
The kid escaped through your ventilator into Mr. Sogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell onto the floor.
Yes, that is right.
So after the incident, when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers. Only to find his occupant lying lifeless on the floor.
She said she was worried when she heard the sound of something falling on floor. That's when she went to look. No. Angel? The door was not locked. So she opened it to look, and you already know what happened.
There's just one thing. If you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Sogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you. When Nina opened door of student's cabin and looked inside.
I was asking Miss Pavlova.
Well, Miss Pavlova?
Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark. He was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you.
So that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Cosmo's death at last? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Jones. This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And an unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there's one particular area in this photograph that seems to be somewhat unnatural.
What do you mean? Unnatural?
What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well, if Cosmo tripped and fell and by some terrible stroke of luck, bad luck broke his neck. I think I might see it. I don't get it, but why? I think I might. Which part of this photographic print seems unusual? Is it the closed hand?
Yes!
Alright, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palm flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say. As though he were gripping something.
What do you mean?
Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please. Why, of course, dear madam. Why would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found. I see. Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us?
It tells us nothing.
I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Cosmo's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe! Find the answer with your own eyes! Bingo. She has such petite ears and among that beautiful hair. Like little pink shells. Oh, what's that? There's something dingling down from her ear. Yes, that's an earring. Wait, look. It's a crescent moon. There can be no doubt, surely. She has such teach ears, like a little earring. What's that? There's something attached to her ear. I expect that's what they call an earring. Earring, is it? It's really tiny.
Yes!
The right ear. Miss Pavlova, I noticed that on your ear, even though you have a metal earring, the decorative part of it seems to be missing. The link holding it on must have been broken, I guess.
Eh? What?
But looking at your other ear, I noticed a crescent moon.
I don't believe it.
Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly there is only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Sogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, late last night, in Mr. Sogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Sogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments?
No. Angel?
No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma?
When I think about it, everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible long day. Tarka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Tarka would not come back.
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
The young man from your country, he was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, I was going to leave the man's cabin.
Just a moment. Sorry, but... Just a moment. Sorry, but...
Oh, yes?
I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know I was a Russian ballerina?
Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on the ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
I see. So you're a runaway.
Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted and then... Tucker jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And... as he turned around to look at me...
Ugh.
I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
And that's when you went to fetch help? From Seaman Stroganov, who was on duty out in the passageway?
I heard Nina cry out loud and fell on the floor. so I ran to her. She was standing at a cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go."
So you said help. And that's when you arranged things in Cosmo's cabin to look like, make it look like I did it, so that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door.
Yes. I went into the cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found stowaway and wardrobe still sleeping.
Right, that's when you found me.
So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign.
Luckily for me, that's the only reason Sasan started to believe me when I said I was innocent.
I dragged young man's body to a good place and used ink thus spilling to write on floor. I wrote that word so that person and who found him would look inside wardrobe and stowaway. Find stowaway.
And tell me, what of the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half.
Then Angel went back to the cabin, and I finished job.
By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway?
Yes.
Accordingly, the SS Boria did indeed come to an emergency halt a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolts on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery.
There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova.
What?
Well, you said that you told Cosmo about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland, and it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem?
It was what he said first. It made me scared.
What he said first. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? No. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
He said an inspector was his friend. Yes, meaning me. Who was supposed to be acting as bodyguard. I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before you could pull bell cord, I... May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I'm not Cosmo, so I can't know for certain, but... he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give you out your secret, then he wouldn't have done that.
No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There's one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes, what action was the victim really about to take at the moment? Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed, First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yeah. I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. That cabin has been my home from this entire voyage.
So this is how the cabin looked last night, when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama?
Yes. Exactly how it was.
Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes. If there's one thing I've learned today, it's that simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion,
You can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Cosmo looking at? He was looking at the wardrobe.
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Cosmo was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however, what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. The wardrobe. And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly. Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. Where were Mr. Asogi's exact words last night?
Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
Another opinion? Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on that matter. To see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. No. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had.
Miss Pavlova.
I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I'm sorry. Really? I'm so sorry. What have I done? And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Buria was finally laid to rest. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now, then?
Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard.
What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her?
Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out.
Your Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia, then?
No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return for the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life.
I see.
I'm sorry.
Steven Stroganoff?
I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you. About how you lost a good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police.
That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Cosmo's death feels like such a waste, but... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you?
Da.
Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan.
Yes. I did stow away, after all. I couldn't really expect any different.
So, you should get back to your cabin now.
Looks like my study toward the Great Britain is over before it even begun, then. To think that only days ago, Cosmo and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. That seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping?
Oh. Susaru-san?
Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned.
Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga told me I should back. You know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that.
I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over, just like that.
Susaru-san.
You had such grand ideas for this visit to Grand Britain, so many dreams. And now they're been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That was just an accident. A silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much.
Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say.
Inspector, my duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. But I failed. And caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder.
Nobody blames you, Inspector. Why? And I'm free again now, at least. Huh? Where is that freaking detective?
Shut up!
Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo!
What is the meaning of this?
Oh, a trifling matter. Simply in my head, I think I should always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry. So I decided to restore them. For old time's sake, shall we say. You are a stowaway, after all. He thinks it's funny.
Mr. Sholmes, we do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor.
I'm afraid that won't be possible.
We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant. Was to be? In the light of Mr. Sogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
Oh no. I don't care for me, but...
Poor Susaru-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Oh, but...
But anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
Yes.
Mr. Sato,
Yes?
do you think perhaps I might be able to do it?
Ah!
But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law?
No, I'm not, but
I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work.
But as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have much which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain.
Mr. Naruhodo?
That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if by the time we reach Great Britain I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma. He said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Mrs. Sato?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you. So, what does our bespectacled but inspector friend say? Are you serious? One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No. It's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating. Duty and rules are all dual routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character. No? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector!
After all, I did make a promise, didn't I? I said I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my report.
Alrighty.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer?
I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant, after all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this.
Kazuma's sword? What? Me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Sogi clan for generations.
Very well. I accept. I'll treasure it always. So then, Mrs. Sato. Seems like we'll be working together for some time yet to come.
It'll be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study.
Yes, that's exactly what I need.
But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you too.
Goodness, what is it?
please throw me to the ground. 3 times.
Huh? What?
I should never have doubted you. You were Cosmosoma's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it's completely unforgivable behavior.
No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away and the cabin door was locked from the inside.
No, I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times.
That number keeps creeping up, doesn't it?
Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it.
No, I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Likewise, Mr. Naruto. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
I observed your throwing technique several times with a great interest. I guess I was most impressed. When did he see that? I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling.
Oh, well, in a way. It's not wrestling. It's just my interpretation of an ancient jujutsu technique. Apparently it's
called a takedown. Leaves your head swimming, believe me.
How beguiling.
I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I'm somewhat accomplished boxer. There it goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind as instruct me on the technique of your resting throw.
Yes, I'd be honored.
Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam.
Oh, of course. Are you ready, Mr. Naruto?
Sorry?
Why am I?
As you see, you throw from the abdomen.
Oh yes, resting indeed. And what is it? And that is what you term the Susanoo takedown, is it?
Actually, no. That was a squash.
In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from the evening recently spent with Cosmo flickered into my mind. Karuma? That's right. The surprise sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, just taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels the wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. And I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what it was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. And... egg. Alright, we can at least begin the next trial. Get an hour into it at the very least. Next one's called The Adventure of the Runaway Room. This one's investigations. Now we can actually get into mixed starts. Or mixed investigation plus... Oh yeah, that actually was a completely investigation. The Runaway Room.
And the squeaking chair?
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog. in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident, "I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together."
Alright. Ah, here I am, London. Oh, I got a hat. I got a cool hat.
Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives.
Train.
This country is incredible.
I went to London a very, very, very long time ago. It was cool. I liked it. But I can't remember too much from it. It was very long, like, I was like
I'm dreaming.
10 probably.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
Or maybe 13. I don't know.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Hello.
I'm aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure.
Hey.
I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
Here we are. Cool place. Nice. Inside of a clock? Question mark. 18th February, 9:21 a.m. British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice, his office. This is a very interesting room. What an incredible place.
It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating.
This place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress.
There's some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. But they've only been built in a few short decades since we've opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example of like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? Far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from.
It's certainly unfamiliar. But I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. What is this place again?
This is the Lord Chief Justice's office in Hodosan, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain.
The Lord Chief Justice.
We had instructions to report here at this time if circumstances were different. We were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan.
But Kazuma can't.
No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity, as envoys to report the news of Kazuma's death.
Yeah.
And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done.
So, we'd have to return to Japan.
If we want to remain here in Great Britain,
I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour.
which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer.
Which is what I've been studying for.
Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London.
I hope I'm up to scratch. Ah, good morning. Sorry to keep you. Oh, hi. Oh. I trust that you aren't exhausted after your long voyage from Japan.
It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies.
Oh, no, don't mention it. We're never happier than... and we're standing around with nothing much to do.
How fortunate. So, in introductions, I am Mail Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire.
Ugh, and I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruto, don't be a mouse. Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire.
Ah, yes, thank you. Look at these menacing metal giants facing each other from across the room. I believe they're suits of armor. Oh, right. I thought maybe they were like the lion dogs we have in Japan guarding shrine gates. No, not at all. In fact, in Europe, suits of armor like these are always possessed by evil spirits, you know. And they roam around in the middle of the night. Really? So nothing you don't know, Mr. Sato? This book tells me everything I need to know about everything. If you're ever unsure, just ask.
What kind of magic book is that? Where did you get that incredible tome?
Black magic.
Just look at all the naughty books packed together on these shelves. They go from the floor to the ceiling. Where's the floor?
It looks like it looks like there's a drop off here.
Or maybe there's not. Maybe it's just perspective is weird.
They're all books that you couldn't hope to come by in Japan. It's like a dream.
Yeah, a very bad dream.
They're not all about British law either. There are books about the judicial systems of other Western nations. France, Germany, Spain, Holland.
What about Russia?
Why do you ask?
I was wondering about asking the Lord Chief Justice how you say wardrobe in Russian. What do you think?
I think perhaps it's a thought best abandoned.
But I want to know how to get to it. I want to know what wardrobe it.
This must be the Lord Chief Justice's desk. I believe it's made of marble.
Looks more like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me.
I think that's your fanciful imagination at work again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Feels like everything that's normally made of wood and paper at home is made of bricks and stone here.
I know. That's why this place feels so overbearing, I'm sure.
Everything big. Scary. Is this some kind of clock?
Actually, I think we might be inside some sort of giant clock. But those gears are larger than anything you find on a steam locomotive, if even.
It's eerie. Do you think clocks are some sort of hobby of his? The Lord Chief Justice, I mean?
Well, boys do enjoy fiddling around with machines, don't they?
I'm not sure you could fiddle with cogs that size, and I'm certain you couldn't call him a boy. Still, it's amazing how little noise the cogs make, considering how large they are. There's actually something quite soothing about their precise rhythm. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Wait, I can turn left and right? I can! There's not really any reason for me to do that! Yay! Yay, pointless turning. An armband I inherited from Cosmo identifies the wearer as defense lawyer throughout the Empire of Japan. I actually can't even show off my, Wait. These are the scales of justice. They're a symbol of the defense, aren't they?
Yes, that's right. The scales are a symbol of fairness to show that all are treated equally in the eyes of the law. They are warning those who enter the courtroom without an impartial mind.
But if they're the mark of the defense, it would be more suspicious if they were weighing more heavily on the not guilty side, I think.
Very impartial, I'm sure.
Huh? Kazuma Sogi. The lawyer's name is embroidered on here. On the side here. Look. Kazuma Sogi. This was his band, of course.
He had his heart set on this study tour in Great Britain.
I'm sure he would have found the truth he longed for here.
but he lost his life before he even had the chance to see the place. I had such a strong sense of his hopes and dreams when I look at this armband, though.
Look at this! Well, Strongheart, may I show you this?
To accept this item, issue a receipt, examine it thoroughly, and make a formal statement of my findings. Would require something in the region of 24 seconds of my time.
Sorry?
Does the item warrant 24 seconds of my time, Mr. Naruhodo?
Let's leave it for now. Okay. Stranger. London!
So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London?
Oh, help! I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city.
It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh?
We had such a wonderful view of some of London's streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words.
I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water, and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded.
Oh yes, astounded is the word.
Thanks for saving me there, Sasan.
Everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor.
Yes. There's much excitement about the upcoming great exhibition we will be hosting here in London.
Great exhibition?
I have a K. Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its time in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop.
Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be.
Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world.
Even if you do say so yourself.
The sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun.
So, Lord Chief Justice, I think you were expecting a student of law for this study tour, weren't you?
Absolutely. I'm Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves.
That's right.
The British government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores.
That's amazing. The news reached him before he even arrived.
My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours.
Oh, thank you.
And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news.
Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person.
They tell me you Japanese are people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it's true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of your young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed.
You would just hear us out, Miss Lord Strongheart.
What do you have to say, madam?
It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal.
What did you know? Well, Mr. Naruhodo.
This is it then. The moment of truth. The thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead.
Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done.
Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean.
Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Asogi. At least, that is what I've been led to understand.
Well, the thing is, this really isn't going well at all. I just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man.
Mr. Naruhodo.
I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I gonna say? If there's someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer, it's me. It's me. I can do it.
Is that so?
I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications such, but
No qualifications, you say? And yet you still claim to be a lawyer.
I've acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. And I had Cosmo to help me. And I was the accused. But lousy over the details. I've been spending every spare moment of the journey here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Buria.
The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Not what you might call a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training.
I realize it's too far short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Cosmo, Mr. Sogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I'll do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. Please.
31 seconds.
Sorry?
Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo, it was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you in good stead as a lawyer.
Oh, thanks.
So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment.
Huh?
But let me ask you one thing first, sir.
Yes?
You say that you intend to do everything Mr. Sogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path?
Well, yes. That's my intention.
I see.
Am I imagining things? Or did his expression just alter for a fraction there all of a sudden?
Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you.
Really? So, what form will the test take exactly?
Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you consider the role of a lawyer to be?
Well, defending people, of course.
Well said. So, let's have you defend someone.
Huh?
Your timing is perfect. In fact, there's an app trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news.
Today? Straight away?
If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler?
Ugh, how do I get myself in these situations? Well, can I ask what sort of trial it is, Lord Strongheart?
Yes, good question. Ah, I remember. It's a murder trial.
A murder?
An extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose.
That's easy to say.
But I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will of course be sentenced to capital punishment.
Capital punishment? He'll be put to death?
Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short C-based introduction to British law.
We can't possibly agree to such a test. We'd be toying with a man's life.
I'm the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable.
But you can't do that, can you?
There's no need to overcomplicate this. All we have to do is ensure that you don't lose.
So the defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged.
Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Sogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen.
He's testing my resolve.
What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be?
What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? I'll do it. Alright then. If I have to give you a decision now, my answer is...
I can't do it. I can't get the words out.
15 seconds. Your decision making needs more work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it?
Sorry?
You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to East tomorrow. This conversation is over.
Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Mr. Sato, but what could I do? It's alright. I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. Resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it.
What are you trying to say, madam?
I think what Mr. Sa means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day. But for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time. Lord Chief Justice.
Wait, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, was there something else?
It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time.
But I just said that...
I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him.
What?
At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down.
But that's awful!
But that's the truth.
Why does it have to be like this?
Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you.
Am I really his only hope?
So, what do you say now, madam?
Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. And I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve.
Oh.
Our time is up here is up. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves.
He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. Let's go then. I ain't gonna wait. I wanna see... or at least see the beginning. The Old Bailey. Oh, thank goodness. We're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Yes, they're our destination 5 minutes driver, and there's a Gina and Ephria. It's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly.
I'm not sure why you're so pleased. Thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for this privilege. Sorry, I was checking some.
Well, at least we arrived before the trial started.
Yeah, I suppose there's that. Squeak.
Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here. There's no sign of him at all.
Strange. Hello. So this is the Old Bailey. Even the courtroom for defense to wait in is grand.
Are you right, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is going to be sentenced. Feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed.
Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling the very alone at this moment.
Top of the morning to you, madam, sir. Hi there.
What are you doing? Follow me here. Things are fair desperate, are they?
Sorry?
Would you look at those expressionless faces? From the East, are you?
We're from Japan, yes.
Ah, get Japan, is it? Say it right, say no more. So, how much do you need?
No, we're just here because...
No need to explain, fella. I've been here, I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name. And what? And all the while in a strange, faraway land.
Well, actually... we haven't found a place to stay yet, no.
It's grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now.
1,000 Guinness?
Please, Mr. Saw, you don't have to shout.
1,000 Guinness is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What?
This is nothing to me at all. I'd like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over.
Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money.
That hit me in the eye.
Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you for no strings attached. Hubby wants you to do something for me.
Oh?
To be honest, it's a little embarrassing. The trial's about to begin, you see. It's for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'll be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now.
Oh, well, the thing is...
Don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me. Nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial is going to start without me having any kind of representation at all.
So it was true. The Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. The man with a big hat.
I'm terribly sorry to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial?
Bless her lazy, you's not know who I am. Me, one of London's biggest names.
No, sorry. We've only just arrived in the city, you see.
I see. I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park, there's the centre of London and another beautiful park.
Sorry? A park? What?
It's called McGilded Park. Full of blossom, flowers in the spring, and singing birds and whatnot. I don't, it's a city, so I did.
An entire park? It's central London.
A city of smiles, that's my vision for London. That's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its square old people.
That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary.
But now they've got the gold to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What the matters with the London police, I ask you?
Alright, don't pass out.
Mr. Naruhodo, Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves, while the gentleman catches his breath.
Good idea. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So if you can't have a lawyer for the if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best.
What I was saying, what was I after saying, you daft idiot? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I?
Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you.
I teleport. Oh, I didn't see what's going on here.
Sorry?
I know what you're thinking. This Chancellor of her claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well.
Well. No. Not at all. Although, it is a little strange, to be honest. Why don't you have a lawyer, I mean?
That would be the fault of the Reaper.
Huh? Sorry? Did you just say Reaper?
Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Beric von Zeeks. He's the prosecutor.
Or Zykes, I'm not sure.
Oh, Zeeks. See, now,
The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper?
when Van Zyke stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been in the prosecutor, the accused has been damned.
What?
So it's reached the desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fella at all. You could say that he's a living legend of the Old Bailey.
I'll go with this voice, why not?
Goodness. Lord Beric Van Zeeks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then.
Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed.
Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom, the trial's about to begin. His counsel? That'd be me.
Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down.
But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened.
So you showed your face. I made my mind up, so I had.
Sorry?
I decided I'd have to defend myself in there.
How would that have worked?
Then you made an appearance. A student of law once, you know. It's no accident, I can assure you that. It's fate. Don't get cold feet now. Please.
I literally know nothing about the case or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him.
Mr. Naruhodo.
The man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Cosmo would never have allowed to happen.
As an offense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start, you'll lose your right to stand.
I'll be right there. It's happening then. My first trial in the British court. I hope you're watching me, Kazuma, because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Alright. Hello. Bye. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. Hello, people in front. Are you the judges? No. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan.
It feels so, both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, yes, what?
Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again.
I know, but I just can't help it. Vampire!
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared.
That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch the next poor victims of the underworld.
Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English?
Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried.
Those eyes please me. Nipponese. They shroud your fear, your doubts, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb.
Ugh, a cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tip of my toes.
Now, Mr. McGilded,
Yes, my lord.
you stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You will be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner?
As I've always said, Ed, my lord, it is a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even as if I was a student from some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a chance? I'd like to think that the acts of chivalry do exist in Great British Empire proud. Do the Great British Empire proud.
Listen to Mr. McGilded, what a fine gentleman. London has him. Did you already donate 5,000 pounds to the government the other day? The other, please may we go play in McGilded Park?
Seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded.
That's definitely welcome news, as he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him.
Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, a most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality and for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? This guy has a knife. Why did we give him a knife?
He's the murderer. Oh dear, I have to do voice for all this. Oh dear, dear.
Yes, my lord. It is asked to send riders to the gallows where they belong. It's more, I'm more than ready.
At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree.
Huh. Any criminals here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me.
Okay.
Alright, feel chill.
What? Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson.
Mr. Naruhodo, these people are...
The jury, yeah. That's something we don't have in Japan yet.
That's right. I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view.
But how exactly do the jurors give their verdicts?
That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses.
Yeah.
Prosecutor Van Zeeks. My lord? My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you renounced your fame. I'm known as a Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So, what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance of which the court should be aware of? I leave that to your imagination, my lord.
so the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose the day of all days to make a comeback?
Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo.
As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes you back. Welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity.
We must be the only ones in here who aren't aware.
The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. That was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks, known in the community as Thrice-Fired Mason.
Sorry? Thrice?
He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible.
Ah. She's missing a button. He's got a cool hat. He's got a knife.
The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, Consul. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence.
So I think I'm actually going to go ahead and end it here. I could end it in a little bit, but why not? We're just at the start of this case, so it would just be good to just have the whole thing available for tomorrow. So yeah, we'll just save that for tomorrow. Is this going to change it? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. See ya.